So welcome to part 3 of the sequel that we have got going here. This one is again about living in the here and now, something that we constantly have to try and talk to people in order to get any kind of results. It doesn't matter if it's even a basic massage that you're going for, you got to learn the importance of living in the here and now and just how important your breath cycle is. So it's a small bit of information here for you to absorb in regards to this. So as you can see here, little thing like when we are at peace, we are aware of the current state of being, we're simply living in the here and now. Something that we're always talking about during our treatment methods, trying to get them to stop thinking of what they have to do when they get home, what's coming up in the future, especially what's gone on in the past. In order to let the body heal, we need to get ourselves to a place of complete peace, which can often be difficult with everything going on. Essentially, when we're there, it allows us to enter the realm of the limbic system. If this state gets hijacked by our cognitive thoughts, our breathing is impacted and therefore will affect our movement, health and vitality. So we can see then just how quickly it starts with a thought process. We get worried, we think of something, we have something coming up, and the breathing gets impacted immediately, and then therefore we see this effect maybe a couple of days later, might be instantly in our movement, pain, and then long term, obviously the health and vitality of our life. Quick example of the stage of the cycle that you can think of, you can practice at home. It's very straightforward. If we breathe through the nose on the inhale, pause at the top, and on the exhale you let it out from the back of your throat. You imagine that you're just releasing it with no lips being put together, and then you'll pause again at the bottom of the breath. And try and pause, because it's very important to not rush going from the end of an inhale immediately into an exhale and so on. When we hold our breath, naturally enough our heart rate rises, and then when we exhale it decreases. Those of you who get anxiety, again, you just go back to the basics of learning how to breathe. It's the same. We've all seen it before. If someone gets a panic attack, what do? You tell them to focus on the breathing, and it gets their thought process slowed back down again. Relaxed breathing obviously gives us relaxed movement. And a big one I've always talked about is without conscious motor control, our movements are hijacked by reflexive movement patterns that are survival based without consideration for metabolic cost and adaptive patterns. And by this, what I mean is, again, it could be in a real life scenario, it could be a thought that happens. Next thing we brace because we just remembered what's going to happen, what maybe happened before. It could be living in a scenario, it could be any kind of thought that has the ability to cause us to physically brace is going to affect our movement. And most individuals that we see when they get on the bed, they're in a protective state all the time, and it's become so unconscious now that they don't even realize until they arrive at the place here, and then they start to understand just how important all of the previous cortisol, adrenaline, speaking and talking that we do, and to really identify with them traits before they get a treatment. And finally, on this one, before we introduce the following video, when we look at the body, 3 ways: the chemical, mental and structure. If it's visual here for you to see, you throw one off, it throws us out of whack. However, the chemical refers to the levels of toxins in our tissue and blood, the quality of our nutritional intake. Somebody could be doing all the right things and have a horrendous diet, or maybe eating certain foods that do not work with them, and it's been causing their issues for a long time and increasing inflammation in the body. The mental obviously refers to the stress, the emotional well-being of the brain in relation to how we think and behave. It also includes negative and unresolved emotions. And the structural piece will obviously then, when we come to MRIs, and we look at all of this structural work, that also has a massive impact. However, when you've dealt with the structure for long enough, you seem to get good help across those areas, and you're still not managing to get there, we might need to go further into it. Again, this is why we encourage people to trust in the process and work with us over that little bit longer of a plan.